Welcome back. All right. This is one hell of a night if you couldn't read the logo. And today I kind of wanted to talk about something that is a really crucial part of art now that I'm realizing as I get more into it. It plays arguably a large role, and that is, drumroll, tuning out the haters. I think tuning out the haters or just like avoiding naysayers is a core part of every artist's journey, you know, whether that be photography, whether that be music, especially music, whether that be painting, digital work, whatever, fashion. Um, in my experience, I've gotten the most kind of like flack from music. I think it's very common to get hate comments, especially on the internet. Um, but it's just like, you know, who cares? I know what I'm doing. I like what I'm doing. Can it be improved? Always. But, I'm confident in my work. I believe in it. And for someone to come here and be like, that shit is ass, why should I even give you any attention? You know? It's the equivalent of like you spending hours on writing an essay or creating a slide deck for your work or like school, and the teacher just doesn't even give it a glance, and they're like, yeah, this is like a C. You didn't even read it. You don't know the amount of work I put in. How are you just going to judge me so quickly? you know and it's like learning to block that out and avoid that is such a key aspect of work. But also at the same time, this is like the level two of it, where it's like you have to be able to differentiate people just hating and people offering good constructive criticism. Um, and I think that's where it becomes hard to distinguish. And obviously, like a lot of people run by that whole idea of like, if you wouldn't ask them for advice, why are you listening to their criticism? It's something like that. Eh, I feel like that includes a lot of bias and leads to a very slippery slope of like constant yes manning and just like, yeah, yeah, whatever you're doing is great. Um, it's very important to be able to kind of be self aware. Yes, you're gonna have haters. Yes, you need to be confident in your work, but you also need to be able to realize like this one isn't it. Um, because once you lose that, then you're losing a lot of your actual like integrity and like the core of your work. People want to look at your art because they trust your vision, right? If they didn't trust your vision, they would not care. And for someone to come around and be like, yeah, it's mid, nothing crazy. Maybe there is some truth in that, but if you let that impact you, you will not be able to refine your vision to your best ability. Because then in the back of your mind, you're going to be like, darn, like, people aren't really vibing with it. Do I just completely shift 180? Oh, darn, do I just completely, like, no. You need to believe in yourself and not let others, like, make you doubt yourself. A big part of it is like, if you can't believe in yourself, how are others going to believe in you? And if others start believing in you, then you'll have less haters. Simple. You cannot turn every hater into a fan. It's very hard. Um, and you shouldn't have to. you shouldn't worry. People who like you will like you, people who don't like you won't. To go out of your way to force people to like you, you are no longer focused on the primary goal of your work. Like, you can't have everything. Billionaires would say otherwise, but even then they can't have everything. But you need to really just lock in on that. Um it's scary to put yourself out there. I understand. Um and like this is like directly to anyone who is sharing their journey and sharing their work. It's hard. I'm not saying it's like a walk in the park, but haters are like the smallest worry you could ever have because they're like ants, they're like flies. Um, they're always there, and they'll only bother you if you let them. I'm not saying that they are like minuscule and worthless or none of that. I'm just saying, you know, if an ant's crawling on your hand and you don't really care about it, it's not going to bother you. And if you don't bother it, it won't bite you. It won't just the more attention you give it, the more power it has over you. And the less attention you give it, it basically doesn't exist. And it's very important to kind of like carry that with you because the second you give these haters attention, the second you want to be like, okay, I'm clapping back, it's a waste of energy. That energy could have been spent making something. So don't do it. Like, seriously. And another thing is like clapping back to haters, it's fun, don't get me wrong. I love it. But I live with this kind of idea of like you got to kill them with kindness. A hater will always be a hater, but if you keep going even after they hate on you, that's such a big flex. So many people stop after they get their first, like, damn, there's a hidden talent, let's keep it hidden. No. And one thing you'll notice, a majority of the haters are the ones who either can't do it or won't try. They're too cool to, care about life. Uh it's usually people you wouldn't want to like talk to, hang out with, associate with. Like, they have nothing better to do than to say they hate you. Um, it's kind of crazy. You can spread joy. Like you actively have to choose that. And for someone to spend their energy on you, you're kind of already winning. Like, in all honesty, the fact that you are on someone's mind enough for them to go out of their way, and in the context of social media, like to go out of their way, stop on your post, click the comment button, type out whatever they want to type out, and hit post. You already spent so much effort towards me. You might as well just say you love me. Like, damn. Like, I've had situationships that put in less effort. So clearly they care. And I think if you start looking at it that way, you realize, like, wow, maybe it's a good thing that they're hating because they're taking their time out of their day to really let you know how you feel or let you know how they feel. It's a matter of perspective. It really is. And I think um, being able to kind of switch perspectives on it and not give it that much energy. And if I do give it energy, it's very much like, okay, I'm just going to make another song or I'm just going to paint another thing. That is the kind of response you need to have when dealing with these people. Obviously, blocking them out, way easier said than done. At some point, it does kind of get to you. Like, I think I do a pretty solid job at blocking it out, but every now and then I'm like, damn, maybe Anonymous 427 was right. Maybe my music ain't hitting. And then I think about it, I'm like, what the hell am I saying? Why am I agreeing with this random person on the internet about hating on myself? Like, it's like you really have to realize, like, you're doing this for you. If you're not, you're doing this in a way that is meant to impact you or others that you care about. Why should some random stranger tell you, oh man, like, that's mid? Why do you care? That random stranger doesn't know anything about you. They don't know you. If they did, they'd probably love you. Like, get out of here. Just ball on them. Just keep going hard. Moral of the story, I know this was like kind of drawn out, winded. Block out the haters. They don't matter. They only matter as much as you make them matter. That's it. Alright, I'll see you next time. Peace. And it's been one hell of a night.